Why would you tape a lighted nock onto your arrow when they're supposed to stay in the shaft anyway, and it's supposed to be designed that way? Because sometimes things don't go to plan. So, don't be offended. Here's a little tip for lighted nocks in case things don't go to plan. Stay tuned. Okay, it's been raining for an eternity and the sun finally came out, which meant yard work and all kind of fun today. This is something I do on a regular basis, and it's because I've gotten aggressive. There's two things wrong with pigs. Their bone structure is excessively difficult to penetrate and to blow through both sides. They're constantly moving, and if you see my other videos, I've got one about animals moving when they get hit. I'm really starting to see this massive energy dump as the animals rotate away or down when the arrow hits them, and it's just sucking energy out of your shafts. Third, you start shooting a grown-up arrow with a shred head or some big point like that. You start shooting for bones on the opposite side and trying to anchor them or make them a three-wheeler, which slows them down a bunch. In that case, we leave a lot of arrows in pigs, and it's not because you don't have enough juice. You're shooting 700 grain arrows. They just catch them. It's the darndest things in the world. We do a lot of late hunting. Pigs tend to come out at inconvenient times. And lighted nocks are fun on video. They're good for shot indication on impact. But when they run off with your arrow, like this guy does, this is a pretty typical hit for me and a pretty consistent way they run off. You know, it's got some shaft. That particular arrow bounced off the opposite jaw, so it looks like a lot more shafts sticking out than it is. It really penetrated quite well, but he ran off. And then here's the recovery video. This pig hadn't been bleeding real good, even though I shot him in the heart, but there's the nock. And I talk about taping the nocks on, but there's the nock, and then we'll walk up there to him. Back in the booger stuff. Went right through there. And pig. Sweet. So you can see how it worked out, that having a secondary way to find them. So it's very common for me to have kind of a, bad blood trail right off the bat. They're very thick, and all their pieces are moving around, so it doesn't always line up and spray blood right off the bat. Sometimes you hit them in the heart and they just, it's just right off the bat, but commonly it's 30 to 40 yards before I find blood. It's 2 hours after dark. One of the easiest ways to find them is to turn off your headlamp and stand there and walk through the brush real slow, and all of a sudden, a lot of the times you'll see the actual lighted nock in the bushes, either broke off, which of course advances your blood trail, or it's actually in the animal in the case of that one. And that's pretty handy. So it's worth doing as a secondary way to increasing your tracking success. So I'm going to go through it's very quick and simple, but it's something I do with every one of my arrows. It reduces the FOC a little bit, but in the long run, having that lighted nock stay in your animal and go off with it gives you a chance, especially if you get a bad hit or something and it's not bleeding, maybe able to come back after dark and find your shaft or find it in the animal. You can see how that would be good. So here we go. I'm going to show you how, what I do. It's not any kind of brain surgery. All right, for some reason I ended up with a roll of red electric tape. It just happens to be red, so I run red for now until I run out, and I'll run whatever color. This is a Glory Nock fully taped. I literally put it in like normal and then run one wrap of tape around it. The only particular thing, and I'll get a close-up photograph of this, I take a needle and I pick out where the button is on there. just to make it a little easier to find. You could do that on a nocturnal knock as well, and the knockout too that you flip up. I've done it to all of them, so I don't have any particular brand I shoot, and I'm not sponsored by anybody in particular. I test everything. A few vendors have given me knocks over the years, but as a general rule, I shoot everything. So if it's got a button, I pick it so I can get to it when it's on, so I can turn it back off. The one knock that a lot of people shoot, and it's beginning of the whole industry, was the Luminock. So it compresses against the shaft and has contact points on the back of the shaft. Been around forever. Price Brothers are great, and they're one of my first folks who believed in the Ranch Fairy. And this knock, I turn it on, and then I tape it, and I tape it kind of loose, and then I actually pull the knock away. And what that does is when you shoot it and it compresses, the tape helps pull it and keep it locked down. So when they're running through the brush and it's getting whack, 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 whack going through the bushes, it'll stay. It has a tendency to stay on better. They all do. They're not designed to be knocked against brush and run through the woods and dragged around and beaten on. That's not what they've designed them for. None of the manufacturers have designed these things to survive impact and being slapped on stuff. They've designed them to shoot good, have a good knock system that stays on the string and flies and lights every time. That's important. If it doesn't light up, that's no good. But once it's lit, if you hit a shot where the arrow does not pass through, this is a significant advantage. Like I said, in the tracking process, it's pretty linear. I think it's pretty self-explanatory, but it's just something I do all the time now, no matter what. So that's my little tip. Tape your knocks on. Little bit of electric tape. Just one more thing. Doesn't work 100% of the time, but it increases your chances, of recovery, shortens up your recovery time, and can make some long nights a lot shorter. So that's that. Stay tuned to the Ranch Fairy. Hit subscribe. More fun coming. I'm still shooting the 43-pound kid bow, the Dick bow. I've killed one pig with it. We're going to repeat that test because, you got to test, then you got to retest. One shot's no fun. And there's a lot of targets. Stay tuned to the Ranch Fairy. Subscribe, hit like, send it to your friends. Ranch Fairy out.